if anyone wants to catch the recording, they can. Okay. So before we get started, we are going to start something new. I just realized there's like a ton of comments in the chat box. You guys were probably just hanging out before I got on. Let's see. Okay. Nothing important. I am going to really quickly share my screen with you guys. And one thing that we are going to start doing, let's see if I can share this without it popping up. Hang on. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to start doing going forward is taking a second at the beginning of each of our team calls to just celebrate what God's doing in the lives of girls on our team. So before we dive into December, can everybody see that? Just nod your head yes if so. November Changing Lives Club. Everybody see that? Okay, awesome. So every week we are going to just kind of celebrate what God's doing and kind of check in with the Changing Lives Club and just do some recognition. And then we've got some fun stuff planned for 2021. So tonight I'm going to recognize our November Changing Lives Club and then check in with December of where we're at. But then going forward, we are going to have like weekly Success Club call outs where it's going to be based more on the week to week. So that way for brand new coaches or coaches who, maybe Success Club 30 is not your goal, but still getting to get celebrated week to week because maybe you were the top leader that week or that kind of thing. So doing more celebration around the weekly leaders instead of necessarily the whole month, I think it's going to be really cool. Obviously, we'll still celebrate the monthly leaders as well. But I think just ways that we can continue to recognize you guys for all of your hard work. And I think week to week, like there's so many amazing things happening. We've got top recruiters week to week. And so we just want to celebrate you guys more kind of going into 2021. So just know that that is coming. So I'm really excited just to kind of start to bring some more ways to recognize people onto our team other than even just the monthly and weekly Changing Lives Club as well. So hopefully that all makes sense. So basically what I'm getting at is we'll have weekly call outs for Changing Lives Club, but then we'll also have weekly top recruiters and things like that. So a great example is that one week, a brand new coach may bring on, if everybody can make sure they're muted, there's someone that's not muted and I can't figure out who it is. It's getting a lot of sound on here. Make sure you're muted if you don't mind. And then, like I was saying, Changing Lives Club. So, it could be a brand new coach that has, 3 people they helped in 1 week. And they may not be someone who gets Success Club 20, but they may be someone that week to week had a lot of people they brought on. So we just want to celebrate those things more. So that being said, amazing month. November was a hard month. I think all of us know that. All of us felt that. I was talking to some of my coaches today and they're like, yeah, like the month of, hey, I'm just going to wear leggings all month and eat turkey all month is finally over. And now, December is happening. We've got the launch of a new program. We've got the new year coming up. I think people are really starting to kind of crave and think about like New Year's resolutions and what they want to do next year. And so I think there's a lot of momentum heading into this month. But I think we still had a really strong month last month. Shay Mills led our team at Success Club 20. So way to go, Shay. And then I also want to give a shout out to Kinsey, who was not far behind her at Success Club 16. Kinsey is only 2 months into the business. So this was her second month, which is just incredible. And I'm pretty sure she was at Success Club 16 on like the 3rd day of the month. So really amazing. And she is wrapping up Success Starters this month, as well as Ashton. We've also got Samantha up there, who is at Success Club 10, and Courtney Curry at Success Club 10, and Jessica and Emily. Y'all, so many new coaches. Ashley Ellis, so proud of you guys. Brittany Ritter, so many new coaches up there. And so it's just so cool just to see how God is multiplying and working in y'all and using y'all. And I want you guys to know that like we see it, and we're just so thankful and proud to have you as a part of our team. And also just like look at all the other lives that were changed. People may not necessarily hit Success Club, but they helped change lives. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that those numbers are attached to real people. And if you think about those people and maybe they're a mom, and you could be potentially helping start to change a family in the way that they look at health, or, you know, a little girl who looks up to their mom, or, you know, a wife who helps her husband. For those of you who don't follow, one of our coaches, Elizabeth Dunn, she posted an incredible story on her Instagram this past week just about her husband and how he watched her for like 3 years and finally was like, hey, I think I want to do what you're doing. And I think I might get the numbers butchered here, but it's like he lost like 45 or 50 pounds just this year. And just seeing those sorts of posts, I think it's just a reminder of the change that we get to be a part of. And as women, a lot of times we are the ones who are bringing food into the home, and we're making dinners, and we're kind of the ones who set that tone. And so just having the ability to be able to potentially help a mom or help a wife or help, you know, a college girl or whatever, even a future family, get to be a part of their story is a really big deal. And I just really pray that it's something we never take lightly, because you guys really are helping people out there every single day. And so just don't forget that. I know it can feel like, oh, I'm sending messages, and we get caught up in all of that. But when we think about what we do as coaches, is really, really powerful. And so I just am so proud of you guys. So we're off to a good start this month. Like I said, I think just a little view of where we're at. So Amanda, Kinsey, Emily leading the team at Success Club 4. This was from Friday, guys. So there could have been changes over the weekend, but this was from Friday. And then lots of other girls who've already sold challenge packs. I'm sure lots of you have sold challenge packs today. We're just kicking off the launch of 9-week Control Freak. Maybe you signed up some coaches or some discount coaches. And so I'm sure that these numbers will go up in the weeks to come. But I'm just really proud of you guys and excited to see what's to come throughout December and into January and into 2021. So that being said, I am going to go ahead and pull up our PowerPoint for tonight that we have on here. Yes, I love what Kirby said in the comments. Women are nutritional gatekeepers in their family, and it is so true. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys again. Tonight, we are going to talk about preparing your heart for 2021. And I think one of the number one things that I see happen with coaches, and I've actually been listening to a lot of personal development lately and heard a lot of coaches say this, is that in December, it can, like November and December can easily kind of be a make or break it for coaches. You've either got a coach over here who completely takes their foot off the gas and says, I'm just kind of tired of coaching. They get burnt out because it's hard. November is hard. November, an election year, is even harder. Like, you guys, like, this is nothing new. Like, I know 2020 has been crazy, but like November election years are always crazy in business. Like, when I signed up 6 years ago, Michelle Myers said, hey, just PS, you know, election year, whatever year that was, it's going to be crazy. So just know that like your business is going to be all over the place, because that's just kind of how it goes. And so you throw in 2020, COVID, all of the things. And November was a hard month. And I think that women tend to start to take their foot off the gas, especially when you've got kids coming back home, schools getting closed back down. I mean, just all the things that are happening right now. So you throw all that in there, and it can become very discouraging for a coach. But I think the important thing to remember is that a lot of times we get so caught up in the month to month of our business, but when we step back and we really look at the year as a whole, we see incredible growth. But a lot of times we don't take that step back. You know, for instance, in a launch month, I always say, you should be rallying around every single launch that Beachbody puts out, unless it's a program that you're totally like, I just can't. Like, I can't promise you guys that I'm going to be doing Shaun T's dance program. I will create resources for you guys, but I can't promise you I'm going to be doing that program. But my point is, like, rallying around those programs. So we were talking about them, we were running challenge groups for them. Like, you're behind them, because here's what happens. You see a lot of growth that month in your business. And some people will say, well, yeah, you see a lot of growth in that month, but then the next month, things are just back to where they were the month before. But that's not really true, because what happens is your business grows that month and it may come back down a little bit, but it never really goes back to down to where it was before. So let's say that this is August, and this is, or not August, October, and this is November, and this is December, and this is January, right? Like, your business may be all over the place, but the key is that it may be up and down, but it's still moving up. And a lot of times, because we're so in it, we feel those ups and downs, and it feels like I'm at an all-time low in my business. But in reality, you're probably not at an all-time low. You're probably just lower than you were the month before. And that is okay, because you're not always going to be on top, and you're not always going to be on a high, right? It's kind of like your walk with Jesus. I know I always like compare things to that, but like, we're not always on this mountaintop, right? Like, life happens, like there's ups and downs, but that's how growth happens in our walks with him, or just life in general, right? Like, that's how we grow. And the same thing goes in your business. Your business is growing, but if you get in that lull and you say, I give up and I'm over it and I'm just going to stop working, then yes, your business is going to stop growing, because you just took your foot off the gas and you stopped showing up. If you're not showing up, nothing will happen. But November and December are really like important months in your business. And I see so many people take the foot off the gas because it gets hard and people are saying no and they're frustrated and it's getting cold out, and they themselves don't really want to work on their own health and fitness journey. They want to put on their leggings and their big sweatpants and they want to eat soup, and they just don't want to show up. They don't want to work out. They don't want to do the thing. You cannot lead from an empty cup. If you are not excited about your own fitness journey, you can't lead other people. If you're not growing in your walk with Jesus, you can't serve other people in that capacity. Like, I'm just telling you right now, the second I start to see people take their foot off the gas, I know that they are not working on themselves, because you cannot lead from an empty cup. And so when you get exhausted, when you get burnt out, it's probably because you're not taking care of you. And if you want to be a great coach, if you want to pour from a full cup and really like go into the year prepared, you have to take time to reflect, think back on this year, think back on what happened, what was good, what was bad, what could I learn from, and really set yourself up for success so that you can grow into the new year. If you're never taking time to step back and say, God, what do you want to do? What did you do? Let me celebrate what you did this year and let me look forward to what you're going to do in the new year. Then you're always going to kind of feel like you're in the in-between. So tonight we're going to talk about is preparing your heart for 2021. Again, this is so important that you are taking this time to step back and reflect and celebrate this year. I have heard so many people say, I'm so ready for 2021 to be over. I get it, y'all. This has been a crazy year, but also this has been a really good year. And it's probably been a lot better than you even think it's been if you sat back and really took the time to reflect on it and look for the good things. So many times we just want to automatically see the negative things that happened in a year, but there was probably a lot of really, really sweet and good moments that happened this year. So tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through this. This is really honestly a blueprint. I'm going to provide this to you guys on the Fit for His Glory Sisters team page right after our call tonight. My hope for you is that you print this off and you use this as a guide to sit down and really just reflect on this year and make plans for next year. So what we're going to talk about tonight is this is really a guide for you to then go and do the things and answer the questions and reflect. This is not anything necessarily for you to turn into me and say, okay, here you go, Caroline, or here you go, coach. Like, there are going to be some action steps in that. But as a whole, these questions we're going to kind of walk through in the beginning are things that I just really want you to sit down and I want you to chew on. And maybe it's you chewing on it and then talking to your husband about it, or your boyfriend or whoever, and chewing on it with them and your best friend, or over coffee with someone that you really look up to, or, just asking them even their thoughts on your business and what could you do better and things like that. So that's what we're going to look at tonight. So let's dive in. So I touched on, I think it's so important to reflect and celebrate. So many times we just jump into the next thing. And if we took the time to really look back and reflect, we will see God's fingerprints everywhere. We will see his goodness. We'll see how he provided. We'll be reminded of moments and things that he did that if we just kind of power through, we might miss. I always think back like, when I'm going through something hard or something seems like it's not growing or something feels stuck or, even in my personal life, like when things feel like they're not going right or I just can't, I'm like, oh, this is a bad day. I think back on all the good things that God's doing and he has done, and his past faithfulness reminds me to be grateful in this moment and to know that he's going to carry me through because he's always been faithful and he always will be faithful. And so we really taking that time to reflect. So I want you guys to print this off. Like I said, the next 3 slides are just going to be some questions that I want you to walk through. I want you to sit down and I just want you to chew on these. And honestly, I would print this off and write out your answers because I think that it's really good just to sometimes sit in the quiet and kind of sit in things a little bit and really think about things. So the first question is, if there was one word to describe 2020, what would it be? What were the highlights of this past year? And what area did you grow the most? Did you become a better version of yourself this year? Did you surround yourself with people that make you better? Who inspired growth in you? Continue to study them. Their success leaves clues. What is one area you realize you need to develop in? Is Jesus still the Lord of it all? How can you spend more meaningful time with your kids? Is your current childcare plan still the best fit? Are your earthly pursuits in line with eternal purposes? Or pursuits. I left the R out of that, just realized that. What are your priorities? What about your job gives you life? What do you need to surrender? How can you improve your client's experience? What investments of time and money yielded the most profitable results? So remember that profitable doesn't always mean money, but what really yielded the best results of like what you're looking to get out of your business? What investments of time and money didn't move the needle? What are the best decisions you made and why? What were the worst decisions you made and why? How can you learn from them? How can you improve your efficiency? How can you simplify? How can you create more headspace? What can only you do? What can you delegate? What systems can you create to take things off your plate day to day? What is one area that doesn't align with your best life vision? Where can you get rid of some things? Okay, so that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to sit down and I want you to print off those questions and I want you to reflect on them. Back at the end of 2018, sorry, it was the fall of 2018. And I really, at the time, and I've told this story before, so if you've heard it, sorry, I'm repeating myself. But at the time, Brian was aerating our yard and seeding our yard for the first time. This was like the first time he'd really gotten into the yard thing since we moved in this house. And here in Tennessee, October is like the best time to seed your yard. So he was aerating it and seeding it, and he had this whole process. Like, I'm not kidding. He went to this local seed store and like had this whole thing and plan of how he was going to make our grass look amazing, which by the way, it did look amazing. And it's continued to look even better year after year. Like, people come to our house and they're like, man, y'all have great grass. Like, people stop when they're walking. It's crazy because he just like, he's real into it. So, I was watching him one day. I actually had the windows up because it was beautiful out, and he was working in the yard. I'm kind of sitting on the couch. I had just gotten a new cookbook from Joanna Gaines, and I was reading it, and I'm watching him, and I started just like, the Lord just started talking to me in that moment, and he was like, Carolyn, I want you to aerate your business. I want you to like dig up that soil, that hard soil. I want you to put some little holes in it. I want you to plant some seeds, and I want you to really faithfully water them. And like, I want you to trust me that I'm going to provide. And so that fall, winter, October, November, December, I really sat down and I did just this. Literally exact same questions. I did add a few for you guys this year because I thought there were some more that needed to be added. But I basically did this. I printed something similar to this off, and I just sat down. I was like, okay, God, like, I want to reflect on what you're doing. What are you teaching me? Where do you want this to go? Like, what could I do better? How can I simplify? How can I create more headspace for myself? Like, how can I work more efficiently? A lot of us waste a lot of time, a lot of time. Like, what are some things that I could do? What do I need to invest in? Like, for me at that time, I wasn't making like a ton of money with Beachbody, but, I was like, what do I need to invest in? What are some things that's going to yield back more income? So as I really sat down, I just really started to draw up what I wanted my business to look like and where I felt like God was leading. And 2019 was incredible year of growth in my business. We hit elite for the first time. We were a 5-star team. And all of that started because I took time to slow down and reflect and celebrate and figure out what I could do better. But it was all very spirit led. And so that's why I really want you guys to take the time to do this. I think this is so important that you take the time to go through these questions and really dive into like where your business is at. Go for a walk or a hike, go look through pictures, look back at your calendar, talk with people that are close to you. Maybe it's your husband. Celebrate 2020, like allow 2020 to get what it needs, the reflection that it needs. I know for me, I have a really bad memory. I'm sure other moms can relate, but like I can never remember anything. So I literally just like would get my phone out or my calendar and just go back through my old Instagram post and like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, like I remember that moment. Oh, that was in January. Like that feels like a lifetime ago, and just celebrate those moments and what God did. And so I love to personally go on hikes or walks, like do whatever you need to do, but just allow the Lord to really speak to you and reflect and take that time. And then I want you guys to picture 2021. Once you've taken the time to really celebrate that and work through that and like just like reflect on what God did and what you could do better going into 2021, then I think that's when we sit down and we start to picture 2021 and we take action. And so that's where we're going to talk and jump into setting intentions for 2021. So I love this quote by Dave Ramsey. If you've never read his book, Entree Leadership, it is so good. I'm pretty sure like half of these quotes came from that book. It's an incredible book. But he says, some people dream and stop there. They never do anything about making their dreams come true. Visions are dreams with clarity. Dreams become a reality only when you pull them gently from the clouds and convert them into visions. The most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight but no vision. And I think back, I have conversations all the time. Guys, I've been here for like 6.5 years, probably 7 at this point. 7 years as a coach. And I have talked to so many women. I mean, some of them are even family members, some close friends, but like their dream is to be home with their kids and do what I've done. But while they liked the idea of Beachbody and becoming a coach, and they like kind of were like, oh, that would be cool, they didn't have long-term vision in making that happen. And you have to have long-term vision. You have to have vision of where you're going and why you're doing this. And that's what gets you through the hard days, right? Like if you don't know where you're going and why you're doing this, then you're going to throw in the towel, because we as human beings just see so short term and we want quick results. But you've got to have that long-term vision if you want to be successful in this business and you want to actually see that dream become a reality. So Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. I also love this quote from Dave Ramsey. Where there is no vision, your marriage will fail, your family will be dysfunctional, you will stumble in your spiritual walk, and you will get fat and flabby, and your money will disappear. No, I just had to share that one just because I thought it was funny. But it's true, if you don't have vision in your marriage and where you're going and what you want your family to be about, and you don't have pillars of what you guys want to accomplish, like it's going to be easy to look back and be like, man, what do we do? But if you've got that vision of where you want to go and what you want your family to look like and how you guys want to be growing in your walks with the Lord, and you've got those pillars in place, then you've got that long-term vision of what direction you're going in. So first thing I really want you guys to do is figure out what your personal mission statement is. So without a good mission statement, you have the potential to get to the top of the ladder only to find it leaning against the wrong building. Sorry guys, if you can go on mute. Someone's unmuted. So get to the top of the ladder, only to realize that it's leaning against the wrong building. So a mission statement is really further clarification and definition of your dreams and visions, and it assures that you're really aiming towards the right target. Like you're not just building this thing, you're really building it towards the right target. Dan Miller says a mission statement should reflect your calling and include you and your skills and abilities. This is what you do. Your personality traits. So this is the how you do you. Sorry guys, someone's texting and I can't. It's what we got. Your personality traits. This is the how you do you and your team execute things. And then your values, dreams, and passions. And this is really your why. So your mission statement should include these things. So you and your skills/abilities, your personality traits, and your values, dreams, and passions. And that's really kind of the why behind what you do. So goals are visions and dreams with the work clothes on. I love that definition. Goals convert into energy, and goals help make great women. So there's really 5 main components to a goal. So a goal must be specific, a goal must be measurable, goals must have a time limit, and the goals must be your goals. And lastly, the goals must be in writing. I am such a firm believer in goals. Now, let me be really clear though. I make goals, but I don't like hang my hat on those goals. Does that make sense? So, I always set goals at the end of the year for the next year. If those goals do not happen because God leads me in another direction, or he makes it pretty clear that those are not, his goals, or something happens, a roadblock happens, I trust him with that. I'm not defining my worth by my goals. I'm not defining my, my success in life by my goals. That's not where my worth comes from. Sorry guys, I'm just like really having a hard time hearing because I'm getting somebody's not muted. So I'm just trying to go in here and mute everybody. But that's not where my worth comes from, right? Like that's not how, I define myself, is if I hit those goals or if I don't. But it is important that if you have a vision and you're trying to go somewhere, that you have goals and you have benchmarks and you have little, check the boxes along the way. So for me, if I wanted to, when I was working my full-time job, if I wanted to be home with my kids full-time and turn this business into something that I have today, if that was my vision, if that's where I wanted to go, I wasn't going to just get there by laying down at night and closing my eyes and saying, oh, maybe one day that'll happen. No, I had to have goals along the way. I had to have little bite-sized pieces, those little action items that were going to help me get there. So dream big, but have bite-sized goals to get you there. That's what I like to do. So, if you have some big dreams in this business and you want to make those happen, you've got to figure out what are the goals that are going to help you get there. For me, it was, okay, like I'm going to shoot for 5-star or 2-star, because I know with 2-star, I get to open a second business center, and that's going to help me really grow my income. And once I got to 2-star, it was then, okay, now my goal is 5-star. And so really just being able to figure out what are those goals along the way. And I knew that hitting those goals, like they weren't necessarily number goals, but those goals, those rankings were going to help me produce more income, right? I knew that with those goals was going to come more income. And that's what I needed, because my goal was to be home with my kids. And that meant I had to replace my full-time income in order to leave my full-time job. So your goals need to be specific. They need to be measurable. You need to figure out, okay, if my goal is, I've been talking to some of my leaders lately, and we're talking through their goals for next year. And I'm like, okay, if your goal is to be a premier coach, then that means that you need to have 2 new diamonds next year. And that means that you also need to be a 2-star diamond coach. So if you want to have 2 diamonds next year and you want to have all these success starters and you want to be really helping people, you need to bring on 6 new coaches a month. That needs to be your goal. Now, whether you hit that goal every month or not is besides the point. That needs to be your goal. I'm not saying that on the last day of the month, if you don't have 6 coaches, that you're just like down in the dumps and you're finding your worth in that. No, like, you just know you didn't hit it and you move on to the next month, and it is what it is, and let it be fuel to move on to the next month. but you still need that goal because you need something to be pushing for. And so you need to have those measurable goals. You need to have a time limit. If your goal is diamond, if you're listening to this call right now and your goal is diamond, and you have, you've kind of said, oh, I think I'll go for diamond at some point, but you haven't set a date of when you want to hit diamond by, it's not going to happen. If you're on this call and emerald is something you want to do, it's the next step because it's emerald, then it's diamond, and then it's 2-star diamond or whatever. If you know that emerald is your goal, but you haven't put a date on it of like, hey, I want to be emerald by the end of January because I want to go on the team retreat, then you're not going to hit it. You have to have a time limit. If you have no fire under your butt to actually go do it and have that time limit there and that goal, I mean, think about a full-time job. If your boss gives you a deadline, are you going to get the project done? Yeah, you are. That means you may have to stay at work late some days. That may mean that, you've got to put in some extra hours because you have a specific time date coming up, but you're going to make it happen. If you're listening to this call and you've been saying you wanted to hit 2-star diamond or 1-star diamond or any of those things, you need a time limit. And guess what? You need to figure out what that time limit is, and you need to set a date, and you've got to figure out a way to make it happen. That might mean that in a certain season, say that your time limit was, hey, at the end of March, I want to be a 2-star diamond coach. As that date gets closer, if you're not hitting those little benchmarks along the way that you need to be hitting in order to make it happen, it may mean that in a short season, you need to up level to a 9 or a 10. I always hear people say, and I heard this once from, I believe it was one of my Beachbody mentors, but she was saying, like, we all kind of have a little scale. So if you look at a scale from 1 to 10, there's going to be certain seasons of your life that you're working at a 3 or 4. Maybe you're walking through something hard, maybe marriage problems or problems with your children or your family. Maybe you're taking care of a sick loved one. You're working in more of a 3 or 4. But in certain seasons, that means you're also working at a 9 or 10. If you've got a date that you're trying to hit a ranking by, you're going to have to put in the extra hours. Like, things are not just always going to happen with just barely doing work. I have a friend who runs an ornament company, and she makes all of her money for the entire year in basically October, November, December. So guess what she has to do? In those 3 months, she's working at a 9 or 10. She's having to stay up late. She's having to get up early. She's having to hire a babysitter every now and then. But guess what that allows her to do? The rest of the year, to be home with her little boy, to be able to be there for all of those moments. She's with him all the time the rest of the year. So yes, in these few months, she has to work in a 9 or a 10, but it allows her to have freedom on the other side. Same thing in her health and fitness goals, right? Like right now, I'm all about like kind of freedom in your health and fitness as far as eating and nutrition and those sorts of things go. But if you are at an unhealthy BMI, you may need to put in a little bit more extra work to get to a healthy spot, to get to where, a certain range the doctors might want you for your health, for your blood pressure, for all of those things. And that might mean that in a season of life, you have to work at a 9 or a 10 on your nutrition. You have to be super strict so that then on the other side of it, you can be more relaxed. There's going to be certain seasons where we have to rein it in a little bit more because we have those time limits, because we have those measurable and specific goals. And so the fourth thing is the goals must be your goals. They can't be Caroline's goals. They can't be your upline's goals. If your upline has a goal and maybe they share it with you and you know that you're not trying to be a diamond coach or a 1-star diamond coach, or you're not really trying to grow this business, be transparent with them. Like, they don't care. They want you to be about your goals, and they're not trying to push their goals on you. I know that every single one of my coaches, none of them are trying to push their goals on you, but you also have to be transparent in that with them as well. And then the last one is goals must be in writing. You need to write your goals down. Like, you need to be able to review your goals. You need to be able to look at your goals every single week. I have sticky notes on my computer of what my goals are each month. I have them on an Excel spreadsheet of what my goals are each month. I go in at the end of the month and plug in my outcome. So I have my goal and then the outcome. So that way I can see where I'm tracking. If my overall goal is to bring on, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there, like 60 coaches a year, let's just say, then, I break it down to, 6 coaches a month. give myself a little wiggle room, and then I can kind of see where I'm at with my goals. But you've got to have those in writing. I don't care if it's on a notebook piece of paper or if it's an Excel spreadsheet, but somewhere where you can be tracking them. Okay, so when we say goals need to be specific, I already kind of dived into this a little bit, but you cannot be vague when it comes to your specific goals. Saying you want to lose weight is not a specific goal. Here are some examples of some specific goals. I want to lose 30 pounds. I want a waist that is 4 inches smaller. I want to make $100,000 per year. I want a college degree in blank. I want to have dinner with 6 couples. Like, you guys get it. It needs to have a number attached to it. So it is not enough to say, I want to be a 5-star diamond coach next year. Okay, cool. But how many, I mean, maybe that's your goal, but then like, how many new coaches do you want to bring on a month? Like, you've got to have those specific goals. You've got to have a number, not just, I want to run a coach sneak peek every month and I want to bring on coaches. Okay, but how many? How many coach sneak peeks are you going to run every month? You know, how many coach webinars are you going to run every month? How many coaches do you want to sign up every month, whether they're discount or working? Like, you've got to have those specific goals if you want to really grow your business. Second thing is they must be measurable. So once you land on your specific goal, you make a plan for tracking your goals. Reverse engineer your goals. If your goal is to be a diamond coach next year, let's just say you want to be a diamond coach before we go on our retreat in March because you want it totally paid for. Okay, like, then your goal needs to be, let's see, how many coaches do I need? I need 8 coaches and I need to get 2 of them to Emerald. Okay, so how am I going to do that? I'm going to bring on 3 to 4 coaches a month because I know that of those 3 or 4 coaches, maybe 1 or 2 is going to pan out. And, you know, you guys get the point. You need to have a plan. You need to reverse engineer those goals and make sure that you have a plan for tracking your goals. So examples, some people write their measurable goals on a whiteboard in their office or hang them on the refrigerator so they can really see and visualize them. Measurable progress is called traction. So when you can watch movement towards your goal, it keeps you motivated. If you see that you're tracking, you're going to be more motivated to show up in your business. 3, goals must have a time limit. So we talked about this earlier, but goals without a time limit are unable to be broken down into micro goals to measure your progress. So goals must have a deadline. Example, I want to hit diamond by January 31st. Then you would sit down and figure out what you need to get there. From there, you need to figure out how many weeks you have, and then you need to figure out how many coaches per week you need to be signing up. I mean, you guys got to get down to the nitty gritty. If you're serious about this goal, you've got to figure out what you need to do to make it happen. Goals must be your goals. So we talked about this earlier. My husband wants me to do this business. My mom wants me to get fit and healthy. Like, if you don't own your goal and it doesn't come from your dream, then you won't have the toughness to persevere when the going gets tough, because it is going to get tough in your fitness and your health and your business, all of that. So when you're passionate and care about the end goal, you will push through the bumps. But if it's not your goal, if it's not your dream, then you're not going to want to keep going. I see this all the time. I see, you know, women whose husbands are like, oh yeah, you need to do this business. And like, they don't have like the gumption to keep going when it gets hard because it wasn't their goal. Last one, goals must be in writing. So we talked about this, put it somewhere. For some reason, this is where most people drop the ball, honestly. And I see this over and over again. People just don't write things down. They're like, maybe I'll go for six coaches a month. That sounds like a good plan. And then they don't write it down. They don't track it. They don't really like make a game plan around how they're going to get there. And it sounds like that would be silly. It doesn't really matter, but it really does. Think about people you admire. It's not that they have something you don't have. They just did what they said they wanted to do. And that really is true. If you think about CEOs, do you guys think that they like head into a new year with 0 plans around what they're going to be doing? No. Working in corporate America, I can tell you right now that most companies are working 9 months, 10 months, 11, 12 months out of what their goals are. In fact, at the company I was at for 10 years, we were working on a 5-year plan of how we were going to double our business in 5 years. We had this huge plan of how we were going to do it. And then, we'd break it down after that. But you've got to have those kind of visions. We had it hung out all over the office because they wanted us to know in 5 years, this is what we wanted to achieve. And so same thing goes for you in your business. What do you want to achieve this year? So many times in this business, this goes for me too, but we're reactive versus proactive. And so we want to head into 2020 proactive about what we want to do, what we want to see God do in and through us in this business next year. And we can't do that if we don't really have a plan. So I love this stone, or this stone, this quote by W. Clement Stone. I think there's something more important than believing, and that is action. The world is full of dreamers. There isn't enough who will move ahead and really begin to take concrete steps to actualize their vision. There is so many women out there that say, oh, if only I could do this, or if only I would do that. Be the woman who does it. Be the woman who gets out there and does the work and takes the action. Dave Ramsey says, having a dream that moves to a vision, then to a mission statement, and then is broken down into goals is essential to winning personally, but it is also crucial in business. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. This is kind of the second part of what you'll do. You'll sit down, you'll go through the questions, and then you'll take this little box and you'll just do a brain dump for 2021. What do you want to see God do in your walk with Him, in your family, in your business, in your physical, like your own health and fitness journey? I think this is really important. For some people, it may be losing weight. For some people, it may be, hey, I'd love to, build some muscle, or I'd love to lean out, or I'd love to just like start to eat healthier. I don't know what it is for you. It's going to be different for everybody, but sitting down and really just doing this little brain dump, putting them in the pillars. And then what you're going to do is we're going to actually break those down. So, okay, in our spiritual lives, what 3 things am I grateful for in my walk with Jesus this year? In my walk with Jesus this year. And then you're going to kind of break down some things that you want to commit to. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do all of them, but I think this is more of just an exercise and a brain dump of like, okay, what do I feel like God is calling me to? So I know that I can't do all of them, but I have prayed for clarity and really believe God is calling me to do the circled ones. So what you'll do is you'll kind of do a little brain dump of what you're feeling kind of called to, and then go through and really pray over these, and circle the ones that you feel like are really the ones you want to focus on. So I am just going to encourage you guys to go with 3 things per one. So per bucket, just because I know you really have to hone in on what you want to achieve next year in your business, in your walk with Jesus, in your own fitness journey, in your family. Again, this is going to be totally up to you. I'm not going to ask you guys to turn these into me. This is really just for you to sit back, reflect, figure out what direction you want to go next year. And I think this is going to really help you head into the year with a lot more vision. I would encourage you guys to come up with your own personal statement. Maybe it's for your business, your personal vision statement for your business specifically. So for those of you who do not know, our mission statement for the Fit for His Glory Sisters is the Fit for His Glory Sisters goal is to lead women to live strong and healthy lives for the glory of God. We do this by providing biblically based health and business training with the goal of helping people help people. So obviously we're Beachbody coaches, but our team is built around this mission statement. When we do things, I think about these things. When you guys show up for a business training from me, you're going to get this. When you show up for a business training with anybody on our team, you're going to get this. In our challenge groups, it's always going to be built around pointing people to Jesus. That is just how it's always going to be. And so while we're helping people get fit and healthy, it is a means to ultimately pointing them to the Lord. And then, our goal is to help people then go help people. I want to help people. I want to serve them so well that they want to join our team and be a part of what God's doing to where they want to go help people too. So helping people and then turn around and help other people. So I want you guys to take some time over the holidays, over the next few weeks, and figure out what is your mission statement? What do you want to be about? It may not be that you have this fancy team name, but just a mission statement for you personally. Maybe you don't even have a team. Maybe it's just you. But like, what is your mission and what God has called you to do here in this business? Sit down and figure out what is your daily routine going to look like. This is most important part of the process because your daily routine will produce action toward your vision. So if you have goals in the business, like you've got to have a daily routine of what that looks like. For different seasons of life, different things are going to come. I've probably had like 3 or 4 or 5 different daily routines over the past 2 years, just seasons of having a newborn, and then seasons of, nursing, and then seasons of, whatever, like kids getting a little bit bigger. So now I can get up at 5 a.m. again, but just having those different rhythms. And so really figuring out what that looks like. This was just my daily routine when I was working full time. But just figuring out what works for you and what's going to really help you serve your team best. And then the last thing I want you guys to do is a vision board. So some people within the Christian community do not like vision boards because they kind of see it as visualizing things that you want or things that you need or whatever. But for me, it's honestly like not really about that. Like, yes, there's certain things that like I would love to be able to do to like serve my family, or maybe that I do want to do to my house. But for me, it's more of just like kind of getting things on paper. I mean, this was hung up. It's not even there anymore. This was hung up here on my little board in my office area. But I think I took it down because I was showing it to somebody one day. But it's not like I sit around and look at this all the time. But for me, I'm just a very visual person. And so sitting down and kind of like figuring out like, okay, what are the things I want to do next year? So this is an example of what my vision board for 2020 looks like. I wanted to hit elite again, which will hopefully be elite this Thursday. I wanted to get 3 of my coaches to diamond. That didn't necessarily happen. It's going to end up being 2, but hey, it's still great. I wanted to be able to take my diamonds on a retreat to Florida. That happened, which was amazing. I really wanted to continue just to give more. So this says your greatness is not what you have, it's what you give. I wanted to quit my full-time job, which I did. I wanted to be able to buy a car with cash, which I did, because I had a company car in my old job. So I had to buy a car when I left Red Bull. So we did that and paid cash and was able to get the car I wanted. I wanted to serve more. I wanted to eventually redo our kitchen because it's like a hot mess, but that didn't happen, and that's okay because it was way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But you guys get the point. Like, I wanted to chip away on our house payment so then in a few years we'll have our house paid off. Like, there's just some things on here I really wanted to do. And so this is not necessarily, again, like, oh, I need these things, because, you know, I hear people say, oh, like, vision boards are not good because it makes you not content with where you are right now. For me, that's not really what this is. This over here to the left, I believe this was Erin's, but she put this together for last year of what she wanted to achieve this year. And so you guys get the point. Like, I just think it's a powerful thing that you can do, just to sit down and really figure out what you want your year to look like, really coming up with your goals. Okay. So that is it for our PowerPoint slide. So like I said, I'm going to make this available for you guys to use, so that way that you can print it off and you can dive into really what you want next year to be about. And not just you, obviously, like praying over it, asking the Lord what he wants to do in your business next year. What are some goals that you have? We do have a Google form available that I am going to ask every single coach to fill out. I will post it in our team page with this PowerPoint. It may be tomorrow morning, so if you go looking for it tonight. But I will post it by tomorrow morning. So the ask will just be that you guys sit down. I'm not going to ask you the answer to all those questions. I'm going to be asking you more specific about like your goals. I'm going to provide them to your upline coach, but just so that way there's transparency around it. Again, we never want to push our goals on you. So if you know your coach wants to be your premier coach, or she's pushing for 5-star, and maybe like, we never want you to feel like, oh, you need to get to diamond so that I can get to this. Like, that's not what this is about at all. So we don't want you guys to ever feel that. We want to support you in whatever God has called you to do. We have coaches on this team that are all over the board. We have coaches who are here for the community. We have coaches who are here to make a little extra income. We have coaches who are here because they just love it. Like, we have coaches who are here that their goal is to do it full time one day. And so we want to meet each of those coaches where they are. I'm not going to be like, hey, so-and-so, can you hop on a call for, push to diamonds if you told me that you're here for the community and not to get to diamond, but if you say you want to get to diamond, I also want to make sure I'm being a good leader and helping you get to that goal that you said you wanted to get to. So that's why we're going to ask you guys to fill out the Google form, just so we as your leaders can kind of like ask you without having to send on a call and be like, so tell me about your goals. You can pray over, you can ask the Lord what that looks like, and we can passively kind of figure out what you want to do, so that then we know how to lead you best. And that's our goal, is we want to work with excellence in whatever we do. We want to have fun here. We want to like just continue to build incredible community, but we want to make sure that we're also helping you reach your goals in this business. And we want to help, we want to do what we said we were going to do. when we brought you on as our coaches. And that really is a desire of every single one of these coaches. And so I hope that you know that. So that will be there for you guys. So take some time, reflect, and we would just love to hear from you guys. So, okay, I want to take questions really quick. I know we're kind of getting late, but I want to take questions really quick, and then we can pray and kind of wrap things up. Was this helpful, guys? Hopefully so. Okay, good. Yay. There's so many trainings out there on what is diamond, what is emerald, what is this, what is rankings, all of these things in the business. But I think that this is something that not many coaches talk about. And I think it's so important, you know, even just as a Christian woman doing business, you know, is that we're just taking time every few months to really like, you know, I say every day, pray over our business, ask God what he's doing. But I think just taking that focus time to really ask him, you know, where he wants to kind of take this is just so important. I don't know about you guys, but I don't ever want to be outside of God's will. And it may be that I do this business slower and it builds slower than a lot of other people, but I am totally okay with that if that means that it's where God wants me. And so I want the same for you guys as well. So I just want to make sure that we're continuing to pour into you guys. We always want you to know that we want you to be famous in heaven and at home first, always. And so my goal is to help you guys have tools to where when you show up to work in your business that you can do it strategically and with a holy hustle, so that you're honoring your time and really working with excellence, but also just like always keeping those things in line as well. So okay, if there's not any questions, I would love to pray over you guys. And like I said, I will make all this available to you tomorrow as well. So any questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, let me pray and we'll grab a picture too really quick afterwards. Heavenly Father, God, you are so good. Thank you for the words, Lord, speaking just through me, God. I just thank you for your Holy Spirit, God, just guiding us. And Lord, I just thank you for these incredible women, Lord. I thank you for just who they are. I thank you for just their commitment to this team, to this community, to what you're doing in and through them. It's Monday. None of us want to hop on a call on Monday nights. We all just want to chill and hang out and get the things done that we didn't get done today, and go to bed early. But God, they are committed to you and they're committed to growing their business. And so God, I just thank you for that. I thank you for just their commitment to this community and being here. It literally means so much that they're on live. And so I hope that they know that, God, that they are seen in that, God. And it's just really, it's so good to see them every week, God. And so, Lord, I just want to pray over them tonight, God. I want to pray for every single one of the 32 women that are on, God. I just pray blessings over them. I pray that you would just take this message and divide it 32 ways, Lord, and whatever they needed to hear tonight, they would walk away with, God. Lord, I pray that they would just be encouraged, that they would just be reminded of why they are here, God, the importance of vision, the importance of knowing where we're going and what we want to be about and what we're called to be about, God. We know that that is making disciples and pointing people to you. And God, I just thank you for a business where we can do that. I've been on the other side where talking about you wasn't really welcomed, God. And so to just be in a company, in a business where we can speak freely about you and we can point people to you is incredible, God. And so I just pray that we never take that for granted, God. I pray that, you know, we remember that every single day as we head in to do our work, Lord. And obviously there's going to be things about this business that we don't love. There's going to be the nitty gritty things that just kind of turn us off. But God, I just pray that you would give us joy even in those moments and the conversations and the women we're serving, God. Lord, I just want to pray blessings over these women as they sit down and reflect on this year. God, it's been a crazy year, but it's been a good year because you're good and you were here and you showed up and you provided in ways that maybe we didn't know how you were going to provide or how the outcome was going to be, but we're still here. And we're standing and we're praising you, and you have been so good. And so, God, I just pray that you would remind us of those moments, Lord, as we sit down to reflect on this year, to celebrate this year, but God, just to get excited about what you're going to do next year, God. And so I just pray over these women. I know that bumps are going to come. I know that things are going to come this next year that they didn't expect. Maybe it's a diagnosis. Maybe it's, a loss of a relationship. Maybe it's, something in their business. Maybe it's good things, God. Maybe it's growth. Maybe it's, some awesome things, a move, Lord, whatever, God. But things are going to come because life can be really lifey sometimes. But God, you're good and you are faithful. And so I just pray that you would just continue to remind us of that, Lord. I pray that these women would just leave encouraged tonight. God, we love you so much. Give us fresh joy, fresh vision. And I just pray that they just know how loved they are, God. And we just love you so much, and we praise you for who you are. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, I'm going to grab a photo really quick, and I will let you guys go. So everybody smile. Yeah. Let me get to the next page. We got 2 pages here, and you don't know what page you're on, so you just have to smile for all of them. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on tonight. I love y'all, and I'm for you, and I'm celebrating you, and I hope you guys have an amazing week.